Hey, it's Matt from Hidden Machine here, and back in the day, and by back in the day I mean from around the mid-90s to the early 2000s, I played a lot of demo discs. In the modern age of digital delivery and good free games being available all the time, it's hard to really describe what it was like to get one of those discs. They often came bundled with magazines or other games, or sometimes they were just available to grab at the checkout counter of a local game store. These were exciting things to find, and they often had trailers for or brief sections of games that weren't even out yet. And because of how the internet was at the time, there wasn't always a convenient way to even see these games in action outside of these discs. At what I remember being the peak of what I'll call the demo disc era, I only had Nintendo consoles, and Nintendo didn't really do demos like the other companies would. There was a series of GameCube demo discs, but these were distributed to stores like GameStop and Walmart to be played on their in-store display models. But I did have a PC, and I had friends with PlayStations and Dreamcasts, so I did get to play through my fair share of demos. But as the years have gone on, the demo disc has seemingly gone away almost entirely. There was a PSVR demo disc, but I'm not sure if there were any other traditional demo discs for the PS4, and I'm almost positive there aren't any for the PS5. I mean, nowadays you can get consoles that don't even have a disc drive, and it's really not uncommon at all for a lot of PC games to never get a physical release. So the demo disc is a thing of the past. And for a while, it seemed like game demos in general were also on their way out. But in the last year or two, I've stumbled upon a number of really fun game demos, many of which actually led me to purchase the full game. Some of these demos were for games that we've already covered on the channel, like Loop Hero, Nightmare Reaper, Ganryo 2, and Postal, Brain Damaged. But I've also played a bunch of other demos recently that I haven't yet had the chance to talk about here on the channel. I would love to see some sort of modern equivalent of a demo disc that could group some of these games together for people to check out. But in lieu of that, I made this video. So here's a handful of demos that I want to recommend to you, and you can download all of them for free right now on Steam. First up, Mr. Sleepy Man. This is a really charming and funny 3D platformer, presented in a Nintendo 64 style. You play as the eponymous Mr. Sleepy Man, and you perform various tasks. This game has a really unique visual style, it controls well, and overall it's shaping up to be a very fun game. Mr. Sleepy Man is being made by a solo developer, and it doesn't yet have a release date, but this demo is a great introduction to this game.
You know, it kinda gets a little cold in there. You might wanna fan your blanket, Sleepy.
Next, we have another game that harkens back to the N64. It's Agent 64, Spies Never Die. This game is obviously inspired by 1997's GoldenEye for the N64. Fans of that game will feel right at home here. From the menus to the music and the overall presentation, the game feels a lot like a lost GoldenEye sequel. The game even attempts to recreate what it looked like to play console games back in 1997, but you can turn all of those filters off if that's not really your thing. The demo is fairly short, it's just one mission, but you can play it on 3 different difficulty settings, and just like in GoldenEye, the higher difficulty settings will have more objectives for you to meet. This is another game that still doesn't have a release date yet, but I'm really looking forward to playing more of it. Now for something a bit more modern, Metal Hellsinger is slated to release on September 15th of 2022. The game has a demo that's available right now, and it's essentially a rhythm-based first-person shooter. Between the hellish setting and the way you can do these animated kills to harvest health from the enemies, it's easy to see that this game was influenced by Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, but it has a unique hook. You're rewarded for timing your attacks to the tempo of the game's music. Consecutive on-beat hits will fill up a rage meter, and when the meter's full, the vocals on the track will kick in. The game features vocalists from a bunch of bands like Trivium and Lamb of God. I don't really care for this style of metal, and I was worried that it would start to really grate on me, but in the context of the game, it works pretty well, and I had a lot of fun playing through this demo. Angerfoot is a game that I've been following for well over a year now, and it was recently picked up by Devolver Digital. The game is set to come out at some point in 2023, but for now, there's a demo that features 10 levels and a boss fight. I would describe this game as a first-person mix of games like Super Hot and Hotline Miami. Levels are very short and are definitely tailored towards speedrunning, but there's no penalty for taking your time with them. In the game, you are Angerfoot, and you're kicking ass. Your main goal is to make it to the end of a level, but there's going to be a bunch of assholes trying to stop you from getting there. In addition to your mighty, angry foot, you can also pick up, shoot, and throw various firearms. Similar to Hotline Miami, enemies are taken down in one hit, but you can take several hits depending on the situation. This game has come so far since the first version that I played, and has really developed a very strong style. This latest demo on Steam is a more polished version of the demo that has been available on itch.io. I hadn't played these latest versions yet, so some things like beers, energy drinks, and a shotgun were totally new to me. Beer slows things down a touch and blurs your vision, while energy drinks speed up the action, but also have a visual effect. This game is so much fun, and I'm really happy to see Devolver working with this developer. Kaiju Wars released on April 28th of 2022, and it's a turn-based strategy game, where you take on giant monsters. The game's demo gives you a basic overview of what to expect, and you have various resources to manage and objectives to meet. If you've played any other sort of turn-based strategy games, you know what you're getting into here. The game is fun, but I think where it really excels is in its visual style. I absolutely love the look of this game. While the gameplay is pretty standard, the graphics, sound, and writing really do help it to stand out. There's some fun live action stuff mixed in here, and the main menu even links you to some free classic kaiju movies. The developer and publisher behind Kaiju Wars has a few other games available that I think are equally stylish in their own ways, including Laser Cops, which is free on Steam. Selaco is an old-school influenced FPS game running on GZ Doom. It was originally a total conversion for Doom that used a lot of borrowed assets, but over time, the developers decided to make it a standalone game. There's no release date set for this one, but a demo was just released, and it's a very strong showing. The current build has a lot of placeholder assets, the story is almost entirely removed, and in general, it's not indicative of what the final product will be. But what we do have here is really good. You wake up in a hospital that's under attack, and you have to fight your way out. The combat is so good in this game. It really took me off guard at first, because I was expecting more traditional 90s FPS type AI, the sort of enemies that you can just mow down and move past. But in Selaco, the combat is much more engaging, and every enemy encounter really has to be treated like a serious battle. It's really important to take advantage of cover in this game, and the enemies do this cool thing where they kind of stumble before going down entirely. I really like how that looks. The Selaco demo really is just an isolated piece of an in-progress game, but there's a degree of polish and interactivity here that has me feeling like Selaco is going to make a very big impact once it's finally released. The next game on our list is Peripeteia, a game with a name that no two YouTubers can seem to pronounce the same way. The word Peripeteia is Greek, and it means a sudden turn of events or an unexpected reversal. The game recently had a very successful Kickstarter campaign, and it's slated to release sometime later this year on both PC and consoles. There is a demo available right now, and it's awesome. The game is an immersive sim in the style of the original Deus Ex and other games from Ion Storm and Lookingglass Studios. Those games present you with a goal, and then let you figure out for yourself the best way to accomplish it. Immersive sims can be a bit overwhelming, but I think this demo does a great job at introducing the genre to new players. Your first task in the game is to recover a keycard for someone, and it's suggested that you could get it by force or through stealth or possibly by bartering. The game has a really distinct visual style, and it lets you freely switch between first and third-person perspectives. The controls are also very unique, and they let you grab onto almost anything, which allows you to traverse and scale buildings and structures in a way that I haven't really seen in many games. There is a lot going on here, way more than I could even get into in this video, but I want to give this demo a very strong recommendation. Lastly, I'd like to highlight the newly released demo for CULTIC. I know I keep talking about these games having strong visual styles, but CULTIC is a very stylish first-person shooter that takes some clear influences from games like Blood. The demo is only about an hour long, and that's only if you're really scouring the maps for secrets. But it's still a great time. What gives this game such a distinct look is its coloring process and dithering. However, you do have the option to turn these effects off. In the game, you arrive at an asylum that has been taken over by a mysterious cult. The horror vibes in CULTIC are very strong, and it's a really solid throwback FPS with just enough modern flair to really make it stand out. Some moments in this demo had me super on edge with suspense, and I'm really excited to see what else the game has in store. The demo also includes this survival mode, which works very similarly to the Mercenaries mode in Resident Evil Village. CULTIC is being developed by a solo dev named Jason Smith and is being published by the legendary 3D Realms. And that's it for today. I just wanted to share a few demos that I've been having fun with. Some of these games are out now, some are coming in the near future, but I believe that they are all worth checking out. Let me know what you thought of this video, and if you have any suggestions for demos that I should check out, maybe I'll put together another video like this in the near future. Hidden Machine is posting new stuff all week long, so if you're not subscribed, do it now and thank us later. See ya.